years of being a content creator, I finally have a ring lighting situation again. I've literally been doing this for 7 years, but for the last 3 years, I want to say, just because we didn't have space in our apartment when we moved, I got rid of my old ring light because it was kind of broken too. And I've been relying on natural light for the most part, which is not very easy when your home doesn't really get much direct light. But we are so back, baby. I finally got some lighting situation again. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Abby if you're new here, and today we are doing my June reset. I've been doing reset videos every month this year, and they've been so fun for me to plan, and they're really fun creatively for me to edit, and they're just really helping me be super intentional with goals every month and reflecting on the prior month. I am filming this on the 26th of May, so there are 5 days of May left still, but I'm going to be out of town for the last couple days of May and the first few days of June, so I wanted to go ahead and film this enough in advance to give me enough time to edit it so that it can go up for y'all in the beginning of June. But today we are going to be recapping May and seeing which goals I achieved, which ones I didn't, as we usually do. We're gonna go over setting up my Shop Amanda Rach Lee doodle journal, which I think she is just now releasing, or just did release. Once this video goes up, they'll have already been out for a few days, so hopefully they're still in stock. But I think the undated ones will be released because I know so many of y'all have been asking about these. But we're gonna go over setting up the month of June in my doodle planner. I'm gonna go over my June goals, and then I'm going to give you all kind of like a little spending and budget recap from May. I haven't done this every month, and honestly this year's just been really weird with finances in general, just because we've had so many home things that we've had to do project-wise that have just like completely thrown our budget off. We got a pretty good sized tax refund, so there's just been like so many random variables like that that have just kind of made our budgeting situation very unique month to month, on top of it already being very volatile with being a full-time content creator. I will not be doing a separate reading recap in this video just because I want to keep things more concise. But when I go over the 3 books that I did read in the month of May as part of my May goals, I'll share which books I read, what I thought about them, and then when I go over my goal of reading 3 books in June, we can share the books that I'm planning on reading in June. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So for my May goal recap, my very first goal was to actually prioritize sleep. And I will say I kind of did this, which when I look at my habit tracker for the month of May, which obviously I don't have every single day filled out so far, I did a lot better this month than I did last month. Because looking at April, I had 11 days out of the month that I slept more than 7 hours, and that's it. And I was getting under 7 hours of sleep every other night, which is kind of nuts. This month we're looking at closer like in the 15-20 range for days that I slept more than 7 hours, which is over half the month, which I feel like is a lot better. It's progress, but I still feel like I should be getting it most nights, especially since I work on my own schedule. So I don't really have to be staying up late, and I don't really have to be getting up early, but I am anyways. I don't remember how much detail I went into about working on lowering my cortisol last month, but I know that that was a goal for May for me. I think I did a pretty good job of this. I've now implemented going on an evening walk after dinner every single night as long as I'm home, which is most nights. And I think that that has helped so much with my sleep and just like my digestion before bed and everything. And I think that that's been very helpful. And I also cut out having energy drinks in the morning before my workout classes. There were a few mornings where I would take like 2 sips of my husband's Alani Nu energy drink, but most mornings I was not having caffeine before my workout classes, which is a huge step for me because I was in April. I think that was really impacting just overall like my stress levels, my cortisol, and how I was sleeping because I was having a lot of caffeine every day. So I do think that I have done well in that department, and I do think I did good with that goal. My next goal was to read 3 books, which I did do. For my 3 books in the month of May, I read Funny Story by Emily Henry, and I gave it 4.5 stars. And I did a whole section talking about this book in one of my vlogs recently, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I did really enjoy it. It's my second favorite on my rankings of Emily Henry's books, but I have not read Beach Read yet, and Book Lovers is number 1. Wit of humor between the characters and even just in the inner monologue of the characters was really great. I found a lot of aspects of the book to be pretty relatable, which is why I think it struck home with me. And then I read This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I have read all of her books. I don't really know how to rank them right now. I really liked This Summer Will Be Different because it was a lot spicier than her other 2 books in my opinion. I don't really remember there being much at all in Every Summer After. And then Meet Me at the Lake was a very like sad girl vibes kind of book. While there were some intimate moments, they didn't really feel spicy, I think, just because there was a very somber mood to Meet Me at the Lake. But I really liked Meet Me at the Lake. But I think This Summer Will Be Different was probably my favorite. And then I would say, gosh, Meet Me at the Lake and Every Summer After. I remember when I read Every Summer After, I thought it was such a phenomenal book at the time. This was 2 years ago when I read it, I guess. And I really loved it, but I think because the characters were older for the whole book in Meet Me at the Lake, it just felt more relatable, whereas Every Summer After, it goes back and forth between them being young and kind of like teenagers and then being young adults, whereas in Meet Me at the Lake they were kind of grown adults. I just felt like Meet Me at the Lake was a little bit more realistic and relatable in some ways, but then Every Summer After was just more cute and more of a feel-good book. I can't really rate her books. All I know is The Summer Will Be Different was probably my favorite. It made me want to book a flight to Prince Edward Island like stat, because Carly Fortune, she has many gifts in her writing, but in my opinion she is phenomenal with very strong imagery, really creating a powerful setting that you can envision so well and almost feel yourself in and submerge yourself in. And I also think she's very, very good at the past and present dual timelines. It was kind of teetering between 4.3 and 4.5, and I think for Every Summer After, I want to say I rated it 5 stars. So technically speaking, Every Summer After should be number 1, but I don't know, I just think that the tension in This Summer Will Be Different was stronger between the female main character and the male main character. And then I just finished Flawless by Elsie Silver yesterday. I've talked about it before in my other reading recaps from Reset videos, but I had started that book this time last year, didn't finish it at 30%. I put it down and said, never mind, I'm not reading this series. I don't like this book. I was just really excited for the next book I had planned on reading. So I put it down and I was like, we're not doing this. But my sister-in-law and my mom have been begging me, not really begging me, they've just been telling me how good this series is. So I was like, fine, I feel like I'm missing out. So I did read it, and I read it in like a week. Once I got past like the 35% mark on my Kindle, the rest of it was so good. It had a lot more plot twists than I was anticipating, because with cowboy romances and Western romances, I don't really expect many plot twists. I expect them to be predictable. I expect them to be purely for the smut and the feel-good vibes and for the Western romance vibes. I don't really expect there to be any like OMG on the edge of my seat kind of moments, but there were in Flawless. But I appreciate that because it makes it more of a complex plot. I did like the ending of the book. I did feel like it was a little bit insta-lust, and that's not my favorite trope, but I think that it kind of worked. There were a few little moments in the book that were a little cheesy and cringy for me. A lot of them were in the earlier part of the book, and there were less of those moments I felt like towards the end of it. But I did really end up enjoying it, and the male main character really came around for me because I thought he was insufferable and annoying at the beginning of the book, and then I ended up kind of falling in love with him by the end of it. That's a good character arc if you ask me. So the next goal was to work on reviving our patio. No, we did not do this like at all. We have, I guess, maintained it in the sense of like we're actually able to go out there and leaf blow and stuff, whereas we weren't really able to do that when our patio door was broken. But I wanted to look into getting like a patio furniture set with some of our tax refund money that we got, because we said we were like, let's do most of it in savings and then we can get a bed and then maybe like a patio furniture set or do like some other home project. Well, then we were like, let's not do the patio furniture set because we had more stuff with the house come up. We had like the black mold situation. We ended up having to get a new stove. So a bunch of other stuff has basically come up and we've spent money that we weren't planning on. So we were kind of like, maybe not on the patio furniture set. And it's so hot and the mosquitoes are so bad. Like I haven't felt super inclined to get a patio furniture set because of that. But I am wanting to kind of look on Facebook Marketplace and maybe see if I can find any sets there so we don't have to spend as much. So I didn't really do that, and honestly I just don't really think it's going to be something that happens this summer just because of the heat and how bad the bugs have been. The next goal was to film a video outside of my comfort zone. Yes, I did do that. You all technically haven't seen the result of it yet. I am in the process of filming a video of trying on everything in my closet, and it is so much more time consuming than I was expecting it to be because I can't sit down and film it all in one day. Like that would literally take probably a full 12 hours straight of filming. So I've been breaking it up and just filming every few days. I'll film like one section of my closet, so like sweaters and then t-shirts, whatever, and it's taking so long to film. I still need to do dresses, pants, and skirts. I don't think I'm gonna do anything in my drawers just because that would just make the video even longer. I think I'm just gonna keep it confined to the things I pretty much have hanging up. I still have to do sweatshirts, pants, and jeans, and then like skirts, and then I'll be done. So those are the last 3 that I need to film. I did not take a social media detox day yet, but we still have 5 days left of May, so I actually think I might do that tomorrow on Memorial Day because I really need to get a lot of editing done the next 2 days. So staying off social media will be good for me to really stay focused with editing and get everything I need to get done. So let's plan on doing that tomorrow and go ahead and say that I did achieve that goal. The next goal was to take better care of myself and wear SPF daily and drink more water. I'd say I kind of achieved this one because I did wear SPF almost every day, I would say. I do feel like I did drink more water. The next goal was to book a beauty campaign. I didn't book a beauty campaign, unfortunately. Maybe we will another month this summer. It's okay. I don't really necessarily have a ton of control over that, but it was kind of just something I wanted to put out there into existence to hopefully happen. And the last last goal for May was to do strategic journaling. I really didn't do this one. I am so bad about getting myself to actually journal, and you'll probably think I sound like a broken record player when it comes to journaling, because I feel like I'm always talking about doing it and then I never do it, and then I talk about the fact that I never do it. It's funny because I'll do this thing where I will be having like all of these bad negative thoughts, and then I'll be like, okay, I need to journal, and I almost just mentally journal, if that makes sense. I kind of just think about the things that I would write if I was journaling, and I kind of just say them in my head, and then I don't physically do it, which doesn't really make much sense, but that's what I've been doing, and it's weird, I know. But the whole point of that was to just recognize when I was having, not the best thought patterns, and I wasn't in a great headspace, and wanting to just kind of get it on paper so that I wasn't reeling over it in my head and really ruminating on it. And I really should have done a better job of this in May, because May was not the best month for me mentally. Like, I was just in the weirdest headspace the last 2 weeks, I'd say. Just really not feeling very confident, feeling very not great about just my numbers on social media. I feel like I've been hyper focusing on those things because this is what I'm doing as my full-time job now. It's hard for me not to pay so much attention to how videos perform, the number of followers I have, the number of subscribers. And I think a lot of the reason I wasn't in a good headspace was because of that. And then that would lead me into the comparison route. Start thinking about, well, do I need to be doing something else? What should I be doing? But then also trying to not think that way. So it was a struggle, and I definitely think I should have journaled more than I did. I did not do a little May recap like I typically do, where I kind of just say oh, here's where my numbers are at. Here are the songs I've had on repeat. Transparently, I just didn't really know what I wanted to put on this page, and I guess I could have done that on this second page. But I did do a highlight of my day section for May, and I really loved doing this month. Obviously, it's not completely filled out yet, and I haven't filled out the last 3 days, but I just kind of put the highlight of each day, and I really love doing this. It helped me practice gratitude so much more, especially on the days that I wasn't filling out my 5-minute journal. I was at least taking a moment to just think of a good thing that happened that day and writing it down. It really did help me practice gratitude and just overall be more thankful in my day-to-day life. So I did really like doing this, and I want to keep doing it. But I have things as simple as making a yummy dinner, getting our new bed, having good workouts, getting my nails done, going to a yoga class with a friend, eating one of my favorite restaurants for dinner. Things as simple as that really do make a difference in your day-to-day life and are things that are worth being grateful for. Now getting into my goals for the month of June. Ironically, I just sat here and said how I don't really want to put effort into reviving our patio space because it's so hot outside and the bugs are so bad, but I have on here that I want to spend more time outside. So I want to spend more time at the pool, and I want to go on a lot of walks. I have been going on a lot of walks. I would like to do a long walk every weekend. I feel like every other weekend the last 6 weeks I've gone on a 2-mile walk with Ella, and it's been really great, but I think it's too hot now for her to go that long, because I took her yesterday on a 2-mile walk. She was giving up on me at the end of it, and she normally doesn't, so I just think it's a little too hot for her now. So she may not be able to go with me on the full walk for those, but I definitely want to spend more time by the pool. I went to the pool the last 2 days, so I look a little bit more tan, that's why. I just love sitting by the pool and reading my book, and I'm so thankful that we have a pool in our neighborhood, because I would never go outside otherwise in the summer if we did not have a pool to sit by and a refreshing way to cool off, because it is just so hot. The next goal is to read 3 books, and the 3 books I have on my TBR. So the first one is, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's Haunting Adeline. I didn't really want to read, but basically my sister-in-law asked me to be in her book club, and it's with her and 2 of her best friends, and I actually asked my friend Katie Mundy, who's also here on YouTube, if she wanted to go with me, and I think she's gonna go with me and read it. But it's not until the end of June that we're meeting for it, but I think I should probably go ahead and start it soon, just so I'm not having to rush through it. And I didn't really care to read that book just because I'm not usually somebody who reads dark romance, but I guess it'll be out of my comfort zone to read it. I think the only dark romance book I've read, and I think it's a dark romance, is Verity. I read that in 2020, I think, or 2021, I can't remember. And it was disturbing, but I've heard with Haunting Adeline, I had a friend read it, and she was like, it was just so bizarre and just not her favorite book. So I'm just kind of great. But my sister-in-law and her friends said couldn't really see themselves reading it outside of book club, but I figured reading it in book club would give them a reason to read it. So I plan on reading that. I plan on reading the next book in the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver, which the second one I think is the one that everyone raves about the most, so I'm really excited. Heartless is the second one, so I'm gonna plan on reading that, which it has 4.4 on Goodreads, which is so good. Planning on reading that one. My third book that I want to read is Caught Up by Liz Tomford, which is the third book in the Windy City series. They are sports romances, but they are so good. I love her writing, and they're definitely pretty spicy, but she has a 4th book in the series coming out in July, I believe, so I want to go ahead and read the 3rd one in in June so that I'm ready for it. The next goal is to break my phone addiction. This is another reason why I think my mental health was trash this month. Literally was just so terrible this month with my phone. Like my screen time, I don't even know what it was, but I know it was terrible. I was just really, really bad about doom scrolling this month. Like I would realize that I was doom scrolling and then I would just keep doing it. Whereas normally if I'm like sitting on an app for 30 minutes, I'm like, okay, I kind of need to get off and just like do something else. But I was just so bad this month about doing it. And I think it's because I was just not in a good headspace already. So I was just like making myself more miserable. And I was kind of using social media as a way to procrastinate things, which is just not a good habit to be in. So I really want to like stick myself to a schedule of like not getting on my phone for the first hour of the day. And when I say that, I basically just mean like not getting on social media for the first hour, and then like maybe giving myself 30 minutes before noon to get on my phone on social media, and then 30 minutes in the evening to get on my phone on social media, getting on it and doom scrolling outside of that. But I think it'll be better in June anyways, just because I have some trips planned and I'll be wanting to be really present on those trips. And if I'm doing something with people, I'm very good about not getting on my phone. So that's good that I already have those plans kind of in place that will help me stay off of it. Next goal is to sort of follow the weekly plan that I set up in my Notion for kind of my weekly workflow with being a full-time content creator. In a recent blog, I talked about setting up a weekly plan to kind of just designate tasks to specific days so that I'm better about doing them on a weekly basis instead of like once a month responding to comments, which I feel like is what I do right now, and it's so bad. Or maybe twice a month, and I hate how long I wait to reply to comments. It's like a toxic trait of mine. And having a day to kind of like do my editing, a day to do my short form content filming, and a day to do my long form content filming. Having it split up like that just helps me be a lot more productive. It keeps me from procrastinating, which is also something I was really bad about in May. I was really good about staying on top of editing short form content because I always have a lot of videos in my queue, I feel like, to edit. But I talked about in a vlog how I just kind of feel like I got addicted to the feeling of filming and editing and posting short form content because it's such a quick process and quick turnaround compared to long form content like YouTube. So I was procrastinating editing my YouTube videos, and then I would be like staying up late into the night finishing a video for the next day when I absolutely did not need to be. I could have been spreading it out over a few days, but instead of editing my long form content, I was like, well, let me just get like 2 weeks ahead on editing my short form content. So I was constantly doing that instead of editing my long form content that I needed to do and procrastinating with the long form content. So I made that schedule to kind of help me with that issue, and I really want to follow that as much as I can. It's going to be hard the first half of June because I'll just be traveling a lot, but when I get back, I think it'll be helpful to follow that plan just to get me back on the swing of things after being out of routine for like a few weeks. And I want to work smarter and not harder, especially on Instagram. I feel like on Instagram, I really like try to do the full 1.5 minute long reels, which is like the maximum amount of time of a video that you can post on reels, but you can do longer than that if you do it in an Instagram post. And I kind of started posting those recently where they were longer than 1.5 minutes, but I know on Instagram like nobody has their volume on and people are just like wanting 5-second videos. So I want to just kind of remember that and not like sit here and make myself work so hard on 1.5 minute videos that like nobody's really watching, and really just try and get creative with like what truly short form content can I make on Instagram that's like good, high quality content that like people want to see. I'm totally fine working hard for those videos, and I always do like for TikTok and stuff too, but it just feels so painful when they don't do well and you put a ton of effort into them and you know that nobody's really watching them, because as a creator we have the insights into like the average watch time and how long people are watching the reel, and a lot of times when it's the full 1.5 minutes, like people are only watching like 10 seconds of it, which is crazy. So I think a way for me to challenge myself and really get creative is to think like, how can I make that same type of content but to make it, 5 seconds, 10 seconds long instead of 1.5 minutes long. And it'll just help me get creative and try new things. So I think it'll be good for me. Next one is to do a social media detox day. This is just always gonna be in my goals every month because I just think it's good for the soul and everyone needs to do it. I wanna finish my trying on everything in my closet video and film closet organization video, but I'm wanting to do a whole like closet revamp, closet organization video because I think ours needs reorganized so badly. And then I want to clean out our guest room closet and reorganize our downstairs closet. So I'm in like the guest room / office right now. Really, it's just like our office because we don't really ever have guests, but the closet in here is a mess and I just want to go through it. I know I have a ton of my like CPA studying materials in there that I probably just don't really need to be holding on to. Some clothes that I have listed on Poshmark, if they're not selling, I just need to go ahead and donate them so they're not taking up space in the closet, that kind of thing. And then our downstairs closet that we have under the stairs, it's a little storage closet, but it's long and skinny and it's really hard to access, and I want to figure out a better way to set it up because we keep a lot of like cleaning materials in there, our printers in there, holiday decor, Ella's food and Ella's toys, all that stuff. And the current shelf we have is literally a piece of crap. It just like falls apart all the time because it's one of those rod ones that you just kind of like put together from Amazon for like 20 bucks. And I think I want to get just the Target wooden cubes or the particle board cubes to put in there instead, because they'll be a lot more sturdy and I won't have to deal with the shelves always falling apart. And then get some of the little cube organizers to organize everything in there better, because right now it is just such a mess and it drives me nuts. The next goal is to bake some summery like desserts and recipes and kind of just cook based on the season. This is always something I would mention in my podcast in my seasonal bucket list episodes, which I do miss doing a lot. I always talk about like wanting to cook and bake based on the season and like the fresh ingredients, which obviously fruit is everything right now during the summer, so I definitely want to take advantage of that. Like maybe go to a farmer's market and pick up some fresh fruit. That would be so fun. For example, some recipes I have my eyes on that I've saved on Instagram: some strawberry iced oatmeal cookies. Yum. I freaking love iced oatmeal cookies. They're so good. Probably one of my favorite foods ever, but strawberry makes it even better. I want to make some Fluffernutter bars. Hello, I love marshmallows. And I can't find it right now on my Pinterest or my Instagram, which is weird. I don't know where I saw it and saved it, but it was like a lemon strawberry glazed loaf or something. And I thought that sounded delicious. And now that our oven works again after not really having a working oven to bake in for the last month, I really want to do it. Next goal is to go to the beach for sunrise, which I want to do this with my friend Katie. We went to dinner on Friday night and we were talking about how it's just like such a surreal experience and the best feeling and best thing ever. And even though we're like an hour from Galveston, we were saying we need to just do that one morning this summer, go and watch the sunrise. It may not happen in June since June's like a very busy month for me, but in terms of traveling and everything, but I could see us doing it maybe towards the end of June or maybe in July. And if we don't do it this month, totally fine. We can totally roll this goal over to July, but I wanted to put it on here just so I didn't forget about it and let the summer just pass me by, because that is what will happen. The next goal is to still strive to sleep 7+ hours a night. I just know that I am so much better when I at least get 7 hours of sleep. I'm a lot more productive during the day. I have a lot more energy throughout the day, and I just really need to work on getting enough sleep. The next goal is to have more bookings for brand deals and hopefully do 5 figures in brand deals. That would be awesome. It's not something that happens on a monthly basis very often, but every now and then you have like a 5-figure booking month and it feels amazing. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're bringing home 5 figures at once, because a lot of times, you know, the deliverables will be spaced out. Timing of when you get the money is different, but when you at least have that much secured in bookings, it feels really nice. I didn't really book many brand deals in May. I want to say I only booked like 2. That's kind of the interesting thing about being a content creator. You know, you can have one month that's absolutely amazing and you have 5 figures in brand deals, and then the next month, you know, you can not even come close to that. And that's why it's like so important to just be very, very on top of your finances as a freelance person and as like self-employed and as a content creator. Because for example, April was a really, really, really good month for me in terms of like my take-home pay, just because a lot of the brand deals I did in February and March, the invoices were due for payment then. So I was super excited because I was like, wow, it was an amazing month in April, brought a lot of money in. But I knew in the back of my mind, I was like, I can't treat this as, oh, I have so much extra to spend this month, which to an extent, yes, you do have a little bit more flexibility with your disposable income, but that doesn't mean just because I'm making a lot more one month, I'm going to spend that same amount more, if that makes sense. Like, no, we're going to set aside even more in savings, just because there are months like this past month where I only get paid once and I don't have a lot of bookings. So you kind of just have to keep an ongoing cushion, if that makes sense. But I hope to have a really good month in bookings for June, especially even if it's not for campaigns in the month of June, even if it's just for stuff in like July and August, just to kind of know what's coming, because it helps me prepare financially a lot better when I know well in advance, okay, like I at least have this coming up in July, I have this coming up in August. Now hopping into my doodle journal setup, I'm not gonna lie, this is not my favorite month when it comes to the theme. Like, I just don't really know what it is. It kind of just reminds me of a kindergarten classroom. I don't know why. Something about the shapes and stuff. When I looked at it though, I was going for citrusy vibes. I really knew I wanted to do like the leaves and stuff green, but I was really wanting to do like yellows and oranges for citrus. I only have 12 markers, as y'all know, so I was like, okay, the yellow and orange, there's so many details on this June page, I can't just do the yellow and orange. So I added in the pink and red, and I think it looks pretty good. It's just not my favorite theme. I do like the little quote of do what makes you truly happy in life. But anyways, colored this one in, put my goals on the goals section as usual, and then moving on to the calendar spread section for the monthly spread, I just put in travel and the Noah Kahan concert that I'm going to, which I'm super excited for. As always, I only like to really put things that I know are like super definite and aren't going to be changing on this monthly spread. And then for the habit tracker and mood tracker, I kind of follow the same color scheme, and I did the same habits as last month for the most part. I did do sleep 7+ hours, exercise, read, drink coffee at home, eat at home, post on Instagram, post on TikTok. No phone for the first hour, which I put that one on here since that's kind of like one of my goals for this month is to break that phone addiction. And then I put in bed by 10 p.m. because there were a lot of nights where I was not getting in bed until like 10:30 this past month, which was just nuts. And I just want to be getting in bed by 10. I need to reel it back in a little bit. That's definitely a habit I wanted to track so I can be better about that. And then I also just went ahead and filled out the first week for the weekly spread, even though I'm really not even going to be home most of this week and I will be on vacation. So moving on to the budget section, I'm not going to share too much in terms of just like actual detail, just because I think it's something that's so subjective and it's not necessarily necessary for me to share like how much we're bringing home every month and how much we're spending and stuff, but I can share budget wise what we set and like if we were over or under. This was a big month for gifts for us, so we had a lot of spending. We spent $226 on gifts this month, and that I attribute to my youngest sister-in-law just graduated high school, so we got her a graduation gift, Mother's Day gifts for both of our moms. One of my close friends from home just had a baby, so we contributed to like a meal train thing for them. I think there was some other stuff, but we just had a lot in gifts. But I do have a gift sinking fund in my high yield savings account, so it's something that we do set aside money for so that we have it when the time comes for us to spend gifts, and it's not like, oh gosh, we're out an extra $100 this month or $200 because we had so much to buy gifts for. Our home expenses were very high this month as well. We bought our new bed, which was like $1,050, I want to say, which is a lot. Not as expensive as a lot of beds, but it's also, you know, not as cheap as like a $500 IKEA bed. But we wanted to get something that we knew would last, and our bed literally, we got the soft frame bed and it literally doesn't have any hardware or any wood, so I'm like, great, we know it won't fall apart and break in time like our last one did. So we did get a new bed, and we did that with our tax refund money, and we also spent the $300, or I think it was $330 on the removal of our old stove, because we were like, how do we get rid of that? And then we realized that you can pay for that, which is nice, but it's like $60 just for them to haul it away, which is annoying. And then the rest of the $330 was what we covered for the difference for our new stove after the gift card from our home warranty that we got. And then we had to have an electrician come and install our Nest thermostat for us, because we had one downstairs and we got two in our registry from different people, and we have two thermostats. We have one upstairs and one downstairs. So we had already gotten the one downstairs installed when we got the first thermostat, but then we just got a wedding gift this past month, and I was like, oh wow, that's like so nice that they still sent it like this late since we got married on New Year's Eve. But we went ahead and installed that one upstairs, so we had an electrician come and do that. For coffee, it says we have spent $249, and I budget $100 a month usually for coffee. And part of the reason this one's so high is one, because when we were out of power, we went and got breakfast and coffee for those 2 days that we did not have power, which we typically don't eat breakfast out like that. And then we also had breakfast and coffee out with Griffin's parents one morning, and we bought all four of our breakfast and coffee. So it was substantially higher, I think, because of that, which is totally fine, because honestly, we've been under on coffee the last 2 months, I want to say. For groceries, it says we are $99 over. I budget $800 a month, but the months that we go to Costco, I always know that it's going to be more than what we budgeted, because going to Costco, we usually spend anywhere from like $120 to $200, and we spent $130 this past month. And I haven't gone to the grocery store for this week yet, but our groceries will be a little bit lower this week since I will be out of town most of the week. But we hadn't gone to Costco in 2 months, so that's why we were over this month. And then also I haven't gone to the grocery store this week yet, and that's technically going to count for May. For restaurants and dining, we are $30 over, it says. I budgeted $300 and we've spent $330. That has not updated though for me eating out on Friday night with my friend Katie, and I spent $60, which is so crazy how expensive it is, which I guess I did have 2 drinks, and then we split an appetizer, split a pizza, and split dessert. That still feels like so much for 2 people. I don't know. So after tip, I think it was around like $75. So that has not been factored in there yet. And we have for our shopping category, which this is the weird thing about our budget, is every month our sort of disposable income on the random things that we buy, or the random shopping, the random wants, and really just that extra disposable income, that changes every month based on how much we bring home every month, which is mainly because of me having a very volatile income. So after all the taxes and after all the savings that we set aside and stuff, basically everything that's left over that hasn't been budgeted, I just kind of put in this bucket of wants, which is kind of like that 20% in the standard 50-30-20 budgeting, where it's 50% needs, 30% savings, 20% wants, 30% wants, and 20% savings usually. I think that's what it usually is, but I always do 30% savings, 20% wants. So usually that leftover amount is what we kind of leave as the residual for the random shopping, the random spending, that kind of thing. I do have some returns I need to make, which will give me like $150 back in this category, but we are under budget for it, but we've spent a good bit. But honestly, all of our Amazon purchases, which we had a lot this month and all of like my Target purchases are in here, and sometimes my Target stuff has some groceries in it. Amazon purchases, a lot of times it's like things for our home and things like toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies, that kind of thing. It gets categorized as shopping, but it's not technically shopping. So this category is not really like split up that well. It's just kind of a catch-all for us, if you will, but it's not very telling of how much we're like actually spending on things like clothes and whatnot. For entertainment, for some reason, this thing that we use for budgeting, which I've mentioned it before, but what we use for budgeting is through my husband's job. It's like the platform that he has access to, so I can't really share it with you all. But for entertainment, we always have like kind of $250 budgeted a month, which is definitely very high. I think we should probably like reallocate that and do a little bit more to groceries and a little bit more to like coffee, fun money, and less to entertainment, because we don't really go out and drink or anything like that, which I would normally put under entertainment. I don't go to a lot of sporting events usually, but I did buy my ticket for the Noah Kahan concert in June, and that was $315. So for some reason it's not showing up in here, but technically I am $65 over in that category. But we are pretty much always only spending like less than $50 in that category anyway, so I'm not super upset or anything about being over budget on that one. That is everything I have for my June reset video. If you made it to the end, comment a blue emoji, and thank you all so much for watching. Let me know if you liked the format with having the reading recap kind of be integrated into what I read this month and what I want to read next month, rather than just being a separate reading recap in the video like it has been in the past. I kind of like doing the reading recap separate, but I feel like this helped me keep the video a little bit shorter maybe. So let me know what you think, and let me know what other sections I've done before that you liked. If you liked the budgeting, if you liked the favorite section that I did last month, if you like having the completely separate reading section, or if you'd want like maybe a completely separate reading video every now and then. Be sure to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload, and subscribe if you are already, and follow me on my social media. That's always linked down below as well. And thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you all in my next video.